Okay. Oh. Okay. Just want to check. Can you see that okay?
I can. It's not really in the like
Yeah.
present mode yet, but yeah, I can see it.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Okay. Welcome everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the parent role in Canvas and how you can engage and communicate with parents or observers in your Canvas courses. We do have the link here if you ever want to access this presentation. You can just go to this link here and you are welcome to view this at any time. So to welcome you, just wanted to, say goodbye to 2020 and hopefully 2021 involves a lot less masks. And we're just going to leave it at that because we really hope it doesn't have more masks. My name is Lauren Barris. I'm the Strategic Customer Success Manager at Instructure, and I work with the North Carolina team. And then we also have Pam Batchelor with us, who is an education consultant with NCDPI, and I'm sure you are very familiar with her. So today our agenda and objectives are, first we're going to actually discuss what an observer role is. You may or may not be familiar with this because different districts have rolled this out in different ways and some haven't even started rolling it out yet. So we're just going to talk about what the observer role is, which is what parents, that's the role they're assigned when they have accounts in Canvas, and what they can and cannot do within Canvas. We'll also talk about how they can gain access to Canvas and how you pair them with their child or children. We do have a parent app, and parents can also access Canvas from the browser. So we'll look at sort of a side-by-side of what that experience looks like for app versus browser. And then we'll talk about how you can communicate and engage with parents directly through Canvas. So I do want to point out, we do have links to our Canvas community throughout this presentation. You may or may not know this, but there's a wealth of information in our Canvas community that is targeted to students, teachers, administrators, and parents. So there are resources for everyone who could possibly be accessing and using Canvas. But what the observer role is, in short, this is basically going to be anybody who needs to be seeing what's going on in your course, but they don't need to be receiving credit for it. So this is often used for parents, which is what we're speaking to specifically today. But mentors, sometimes school counselors will be observers to different students in your course. But they do have limited permissions and activity within Canvas. So we don't want observer roles to interrupt the work that you're doing as a teacher and the flow of your instruction. So they're just there to really see what's going on. And like I said, we're speaking specifically to parents, or to this parent's perspective. So that's really, this role allows them to see what's going on for their children and what's expected of them within the course. So observers can do a lot of things, but mostly what we hear is what can't they do? Because you want to make sure that they are not having access to communicating with other students in the course or submitting assignments, things like that. You don't want that as a teacher. So, I will go back to this slide. This resource here gives you a total overview of what they can do and what they can't. But because we do get asked so frequently what they cannot do, I wanted to specifically call that out. So they cannot comment on announcements or discussions, so they can't participate in that. They can't submit assignments or quizzes. They can't view the course roster, so they're not going to be able to see who is enrolled in your course. They cannot send conversation messages to other students in the course. They could send a message to their own child, but they do not have the ability to message other kids within the course. They can't view log files or folders. They cannot join groups. If you're utilizing groups in your course, they cannot join those. Just like students, they can't view unpublished courses. If your district or school has enabled the chat tool, then this is applicable to you. Parents cannot access the chat tool. That is something that's just for students and teachers within Canvas. Um, Similarly, if your district or school has enabled scheduler, parents cannot reserve appointment slots using scheduler. That is specifically just for students. They also cannot view the grade audit trail. So, like I said, that's what we get asked the most. What can observers not do? But if you would like to see what they can do, the resource linked on the previous slide can give you a full overview of that as well. So now that you know what the observer role is and the purpose of it, there are two ways that parents can access Canvas. One is going to be through the app, which is available both for Android and Apple devices, or they can access it from the web. And this is what the login looks like from the web. I will note with this, if you are unsure if your district has allowed for parents to create their own accounts, I would encourage you to reach out to your Canvas administrator. And then you can also ask them that if teachers are navigating to Canvas through the web, if they need a specific URL or if it's linked from your district or school's website. Because there are two ways that they could essentially get to this login page. That's either by typing in the direct URL or perhaps it's been linked from the district's page and they just click on something and it takes them here. And then in the app, it's all the same. They just would download the Canvas parent app and access from there. In terms of account creation, knowing that so many of you are teachers who participate in these, I know sometimes we have admins joining us, but as a teacher, you are the first line of communication that teachers have with the school district. So if they are unsure how to create an account, they're going to come to you. Now, this is not necessarily something that you as the teacher need to own, but we want you to be aware of what the process looks like so that you can speak to it somewhat and help those parents. So parents, they can create their accounts from the browser. I personally think it's a lot easier to do it from the app. If it's created in the app, it's the same login credentials as on the web and vice versa. But because I think it is much more intuitive and easier through the app, that's what we're going to do. And this is the recommended way that parents create accounts. We'll speak to that, but they will either, when they're creating their account, they'll pair with their child or children, and they can do that either with a pairing code or a QR code. Now, both of those things are generated by the child or children, which we'll go over. But just know that if they are creating an account with a pairing code, then when they're opening the app, they'll click on Find My School. If they're doing it from the QR code, then they'll click here. We have some really great resources here that you are welcome to share with parents. Like I said, you're not expected to own this process, but if they come to you and you want to provide them with some assistance, our training team has created this instructional video to help parents know how to set up and create their accounts. So you're welcome to share that. And then, like I mentioned, we have guides in our Canvas community specifically for parents. So there are resources here on how they can create their accounts, and we have resources for both Apple and Android products. With the generating of the pairing code, so I will show you how to do this, but first I'm going to explain it. We do have a frequently asked questions resource that I wanted you to be aware of. But like I said before, these are generated by the student. Now you as the teacher can do that. We'll get into that in a minute, but first we'll talk about students. This is done from the user settings, either on the web or in the student app. They can generate these from either location. The pairing code is valid for 7 days, and it can only be used once. So if they have multiple parents who are wanting to observe them in Canvas, they'll need to generate a pairing code for each parent. And again, each of those codes is only valid for 7 days and can only be used once. If they generate a QR code, that's valid for 10 minutes and can only be used once. So again, they'd have to generate multiple QR codes for multiple parents. As I said, teachers can generate pairing codes. You cannot generate a QR code, but you can generate a pairing code, but only if your Canvas administrator has enabled this permission. So that's something to keep in mind as I'm showing you how to do this. If you're not seeing the same thing in your own Canvas instance, it has not been enabled by your administrator. But just like with students, the parent codes are only valid for 7 days and they can only be used once. So I'm actually going to exit this presenter mode and come into my sandbox, which I'm actually going to make bigger so you can see it better. So I'm going to come here into one of my courses, and I'm a teacher in this course. So I'll first show you how a teacher can generate a parent code if that permission has been enabled. You would do that from the people page. And then right here, this little snowman, that's what I call it. You click on that. If this permission has been made available to you, you have the option to export parent codes. If you don't have that and you would like it, I encourage you to reach out to your Canvas administrator and inquire about getting that enabled. But I'll actually go ahead and download it so you can see it. Let me pull it over here. I'll have to minimize my screen, so I apologize. We'll bring it over just so you can see what it looks like. Oh, and it always does it upside down. So I'll just save this on my desktop and then open it again. I apologize for this. So we'll bring it over here again so you can see, oh, and it keeps flipping it. I'm so sorry, I don't know why it keeps flipping, but it's upside down, but I'll tell you what it does say. It shows the first name of the student, the last name of the student, has their pairing code, and then this actually tells you if it would expand. My Excel is not working today, but if it expanded, it would tell you exactly when the pairing code is going to expire. So it would say 7 days from now at this same timestamp of when this was generated. Now, if you as a teacher are going to be sharing this out, generating these and then providing them for the parents, be really careful, because if you give, let's say there are, obviously I can't read my students' names because they're upside down, but if there's a student named Aaron and Bill, and I accidentally give Bill's parents Aaron's parent code, those parents are going to pair with Aaron. There's nothing that's going to prevent them. If they have that code, they're going to get paired with them. And then you as a teacher or them as parents can't undo that. That's something that your Canvas administrator would have to do. So be very careful that you don't give the wrong pairing code. When we were meeting in person regularly for school, some teachers would create this report. They would print it out and then cut these, little strips. And then as the parents of the children would come to parent-teacher conference, if they were providing those parents with any documents or papers or anything like that, or any information, they would also include that pairing code for parents who wanted it. So that's an idea. Another way that they do that with time right now is in those parent-teacher conferences, however you're doing it, sharing it at that time. But again, I do just caution you to make sure that you don't give the wrong pairing code. So that is how you as the instructor could generate a pairing code, again, only if the permission has been enabled. The students, though, they actually will just come here to their account. They'll click on settings. And there's the option here to pair with an observer. Now, I should mention that if this isn't available, then that means that your district has not enabled the option for parents to be creating accounts in Canvas and using Canvas. So again, reach out to your district Canvas administrator if students aren't seeing this option, and you can inquire about how or if parents will be able to have access to Canvas. But this, as a student, they'll click pair with observer. I now have this pairing code that I would give to my parent, and it will expire in 7 days or after one use. So it's very easy. If they want to do that QR code, it's right here in the menu. And there it is. The parent would just need to scan that. And as you can see, it expires in 10 minutes. So it's a really easy process for generating those pairing codes. And hopefully that made sense, and that spreadsheet didn't confuse you too much with it being upside down and backwards. Now, if we're talking about app versus browser, I do always like to mention that you can do a lot in the app, but clearly, as you can see, it's a different experience and it's somewhat limited, just like it is with everything else. You know, if you're going to a website on the browser on a computer, it's going to be a much more dynamic experience, whereas the app version is always more limited. But like I said, parents can still do a lot in the app and see a lot. And part of the reason I wanted to show you the app versus browser is so that you as a teacher, when you're creating courses, you keep this in mind to make your course mobile friendly. Because especially right now with all this remote learning, there is a lot of Canvas is being accessed more often from the Canvas student and parent apps than the browser. So this is helpful to see, I think, because like I said, when you're creating a course, you can kind of think through that. So when a parent logs into the app, if they're paired with multiple children, they can filter from child to child from right here. But they essentially, they are taken, they don't have a dashboard in Canvas like they do on the web. They just immediately go into the courses, the course list. It's their version of the dashboard, because obviously the dashboard has a course list, but it doesn't look quite the same. And like I said, it would switch from child to child, and then the different places they can navigate to are here on the bottom. Whereas if they log in on the app, or I'm sorry, the browser, the courses are right here, and then that navigation is here on the left. And then there's also resources on the right. There is this hamburger menu, so the parents can see navigate to other places as well. But just when they log in, this is the different versions of the dashboard. With calendar, when the parent goes to calendar, they're going to see the actual assignment and the name and everything. On the app, they're just going to see the dots. And when I took this screenshot, it was the 14th. But if I clicked on the 4th, so I could see the dots, then the assignments appear down here, and I can click on them to get more information. So again, just a different view, but same functionalities. Something that I do think is very nice about the app that is not something that can be done on the browser is you can set up alerts as a parent. So this is something from that hamburger menu that where parents would access this, but you can see in this, I have set it up so that I get alerted if the grade is above 95, because I want to praise Kaysen and say, great job, kiddo. You did so well. I'm proud of you. And then if the grade goes below a 70, I want to be alerted so I can say, hey, what's going on? Let's figure out how we can help you with this. If an assignment's missing, I can be alerted of that. Any course announcements, all of that you can customize. And then you can see on my alerts, I can see that Kaysen got a score below a 70. She has 2 missing assignments, and there were 3 course announcements that I want to be informed of. So this is something, you know, if you really want to engage your parents in your child's learning, this is something that I would definitely recommend sharing with them, because this is going to allow them to have more visibility into their child's how it's going in the course. But it's not necessarily going to require them to be in there every single day and be a helicopter parent. These alerts can keep them in the loop without requiring too much work from them. So I think that is a really cool thing about the app. On the actual course page, in the browser, you know, you log in and it's gonna, whatever you've set as your home page is what, for your students, is exactly what the parent's gonna see as well. Whereas in the app, when they go into the course, it takes them to grades. So I'm not going to see, again, grades of other students, but I'm going to see for my child, Kaysen, that she submitted these and what her scores are and what's missing. I can toggle to the front page, but it still doesn't look quite the same. So again, it's a more limited view of what's in the course. You know, I don't have this here on the left, help me navigate. But just so you're aware of what they're seeing. And then in the app, as a parent, I can also access the inbox. So, I can see the message that was sent to me and Kason from the teacher. I can see messages between me and Kason, message from me and only the teacher. Same thing here. It's just different visibility. So really nothing too different. But like I said, it's always good to know what the two look like so that as you are creating a course, you can keep in mind that mobile perspective. Now, we've talked about what the observer account is, how parents can actually create an account and be able to have that visibility into their child or children's work, and what the difference is between the app and the web. But what we also want to discuss is how you can actually use Canvas to communicate and engage with parents. And it's great that there are different ways that you can communicate with parents through Canvas, because by using Canvas to communicate with them rather than emailing them, once they're in Canvas, if you send them a message in Canvas, then they have to log into Canvas to see what's going on and respond to you. They want, if they want to respond through Canvas, once they're in there, then they're more likely to make sure and click around and, see how their child is doing. So if you really want to be empowering them and enabling them to have that visibility and experience and kind of help their child, it's great to communicate with them through Canvas. So there are two ways that you as a teacher can communicate and engage with parents. One is through the inbox, which both of these I will actually show you what this looks like and how you can do it. But the inboxes, we kind of touched on that just barely. But this is what we would recommend you use for, personal communication. So if a parent's having a difficult time figuring out how to use Canvas, send them the guides to Canvas through Canvas, the guides that we've linked through here. You can help them understand how to set up their notifications. Similar to the beginning of the school year, you set classroom rules and expectations. You do that in person, and then you also do it with remote learning. You set that expectation to students of, this is how I expect you to use Canvas. This is what's appropriate. This is what's not. You could set those same classroom rules and expectations with parents, and you can do that through these inbox messages. You can say, hey, here's where you set up notifications in Canvas. And again, all of those resources are in the community that we've linked here for you. We also, in the inbox is great because you can coordinate any needs that you need to discuss about the student. So again, rather than having lots of emails back and forth that parents have to look through, you could centralize it all in Canvas. And one of the great things about this is that if the parent has multiple children in Canvas, they can keep track of everything all in one place. It's very central and easy to keep it all together rather than going through all of their emails, trying to find the right email with the right link to whatever assignment needs to be looked at from certain teachers for certain students, and having that intermix with other emails that they're probably receiving every day. So this is really nice to just keep learning in Canvas so that it's easier for that parent to have everything centrally located for all of the kids that they may have in the district. Now, announcements, I mentioned that they cannot comment on announcements, but they can see them. So this is really great for general reminders. If there's a permission slip that you need and you have some parents who haven't submitted that, or disclosure statements, or there are due date changes, or when remote learning is not quite so widespread, you can, but hopefully you're still utilizing Canvas, and you can say, hey, update on this upcoming field trip, or update on when the final is occurring. You can use those announcements to communicate that with the class, but also you're going to let the parents know. One tip I have with announcements is to not overdo them because they'll become white noise. So definitely be strategic with your announcements, and and really utilize that personal communication through the inbox if you need to be discussing things more frequently, or really, if let's say you need a disclosure statement and everybody but one parent has submitted it, instead of keep doing global announcements, just inbox or message that parent directly to the inbox. So I've discussed this, but now I'll actually come out of here and show you what that looks like. So I'm going to come into one of my courses. And first I will show you the announcements. So again, I'm going to come into one of my sandbox courses. I already have an announcement in here, but as the teacher, I'm going to come in to my announcements page. I could see all the other ones here. I can delete them if I want to. So I'm going to delete that one. But you can see I have a bunch in here. I can delete them if I need to. If I have a plethora of them, I can search for them here. But I'm going to create a new announcement. And this one is going to be just a fun one. Well, no, because I'm going to make this a real one. So I have that there. I'm going to say the exact same thing down here. This is the title of my announcement. Any additional details I want to include. I use the rich content editor. If I'm teaching multiple sections, I only have one section in this course, but if this change has been made for everyone in the course, then I can post this to multiple sections. I just have one, so I'm going to do that. I can attach a file if I need to. I can delay the posting. So let's say what I wanted to say, maybe I had like a fun Christmas video that I created or something like that. Maybe I did a parody of a Christmas song, and just for fun to say, have a great holiday, I wanted to post that as an attachment. Maybe I created it back in October, but I could get it already and then delay the posting. But I won't worry about any of these options. I'll just hit save. Now that's in there, if I go to the home page, we'll see it's here. There's the title, the additional information. So that's what, as a teacher, that's how you do that. Now I'm going to act as one of the observers in my course. And this is an ability that I have as with my rights in Canvas. So I'll just act as this parent observer. And you can see that I see that announcement. And if I had set up my notifications to alert me for these kinds of announcements, I would have gotten that notification. If I was on my app, it was probably an alert or maybe an email. You can, as you know, you can customize those. But that's how the teacher will share the announcement, and then myself as the parent, this is what I see. Now, if we look at the inbox, so as the teacher here, I'm going to click on my inbox, and I am going to compose a new message. And as a teacher, you have lots of courses, so you can pick which one. So technically, I don't, clearly I don't have to be in the course, but I'm going to stick with the course I've been using. I want to send this to Rebecca. And I want to tell her Aaron's American Revolution report. Just say, Okay, so I've written my message. I could add attachments or media files if I need to, but I'm sending this to Rebecca. I'm gonna send it. If I wanted to, I could also send it to Erin herself, so Erin could see that I was looping in her mom. Um, you can see I've sent that. So now I'm going to go back to that course and act as Rebecca again. You can see I have an alert here that I have a new message in my inbox. So when I click on that, I can see I have a teacher between myself and the teacher. I can read what she said. Go ahead and reply. Okay. Go ahead and send that. So now I can see that thread there. And if I stop acting as the user, we're going to go back. Now, because I'm not acting as Rebecca, I am myself in here, and I can see that I have a new message. So this is, I'm the teacher. This is the one that I sent. Here's the one I got back from Rebecca. So that's how you would utilize the inbox. And like I said, you could send messages to multiple people at once. And you could be going back and forth, but this is a great way, like I said, to centralize the communication. Because if I were, Rebecca is observing both Erin and Tiago in Canvas. So if Tiago's biology teacher needed to message Rebecca about Tiago needing some remediation of sorts, Rebecca's going to see those messages in here as well. So everything's, like I said, centralized, very easy. And as the parent, Rebecca's going to get that. She may then actually, because she's observing, go and look at Erin's course and see what the requirements are for that paper, and might even talk to Erin before replying. But because she's already in Canvas, it's easier for her to continue being engaged with her child. The last thing that I wanted to mention is that when it comes to parent communication and engagement through Canvas, consistency is the key. So regular communication is going to keep them engaged. Oftentimes we see a lot of parents being active and engaged at the beginning of the school year or semester, and then it trickles off. Now that's completely expected because life starts happening and things are going in the, the rhythm's going, and you're hoping that, as a parent, you're hoping your child has figured out how to manage their time. But we don't want it to drop off too much because for students who maybe aren't doing as well and do need that extra support from home, we want their home life to have the visibility into what's going on in Canvas. So don't just use Canvas to let parents know when their children aren't doing well. Also praise them. If you think a student did really well on a test or an assignment, or they're sharing great comments in class, let the parent know, hey, Deborah did an amazing job supporting Ethan in his presentation. Ethan was really nervous, and I noticed that Deborah let him know you're going to do great, and I just think that that's a great characteristic. I mean, that's something a parent would love to hear, and it's going to keep them engaged and really lift up the student to continue helping one another succeed in Canvas and in class. So really, you want to empower them. You want them to know how to use Canvas. So they're probably not aware of the resources that are available with guides and videos and things like that. So let them know about that. Utilize the inbox. If you're using it, they're going to learn how to use it as well and be able to use that engagement piece. Um, we do have these additional resources. So we linked to all of the mobile guides. So if they're using the app, we have all those guides there. And like I mentioned earlier, it has both Android and Apple. We also have observer guides. So that's going to be just for everything they can do as an observer, either in the web or the mobile. There are a couple of things in the Canvas community that you may be interested in that other users, Canvas users around the world, have posted and shared. So one is how one district engages parents on Canvas. You might like some ideas from there. Excuse me, another individual posted some parent pointers. So that could be, you might see in there some tips that you want to share with parents to help them with their role in Canvas. And then another one is clarity for Canvas observers. Help them understand, again, you want to empower them, help them understand how to be using Canvas. So these resources I think are really helpful, as well as the others linked previously in this presentation. We want to thank you for your time and everything that you're doing. We know every year teachers do amazing work and a lot of work, and this year has definitely required some different kind of work and extra work, and we really think it's incredible the things that you're doing and the way that you have continued to empower students to be able to learn amidst the pandemic. And we want to be able to support you as best we can. And if parents being more engaged in Canvas and needing less intervention from you helps you with that, then we're very pleased to have offered this for you. So with that, we hope you have a great rest of your day and that 2021 treats you well.